Class, I'm so happy that you come back today. My name once again is Rogers, and our course is still Institutional Framework for Agroecology, and I'm from the Faculty of Agriculture and Environmental Science, Department of Agriculture and Resource Economics at Mount Elizabeth University. So I'm happy that you already have a clue about the need to improve the marketing of agroecology. We always don't have to keep talking about conservation. We need to look at the cost implication. We need to look at the benefit implication to make sure, because these are key in driving the farmers day-to-day thinking of the production. So from the economic perspective, we really have to think about how can we be more efficient and be able to benefit from this practice of agroecology. So today, we shall look at a new topic, which is certification and standards in agroecology. And I've already mentioned about fair trade organic. Fair trade organic is a certification scheme. But there are very many other certification schemes that exist. But why we concentrate on fair trade is because it is the one which deals most in organic farming and agroecology. But other certification schemes may be also maybe for tourism. Like I have a project where I participate. We have what we call bird-friendly certification of coffee and cocoa in Mwichu and Kasese. So we are trying to say, okay, if people are growing cocoa or coffee and they have left trees in their plantations, birds come and enjoy those trees. So if you're taking your coffee and you know that this is coffee harvested from a plantation with trees that support birds, the birders, people who love birds, would be interested in taking that coffee. So can we brand very well and put a bird in a tree, in a cocoa plantation? That would be very good branding or very good language to communicate. So this person, when he's taking coffee, is not only looking at the coffee itself, but he's looking at the whole process, how it has come. And where the world is moving, this is what we should start thinking about. People are not really interested in taking any tea because it is sweet. They are taking tea with a lot of attachments to it, or coffee, a lot of attachments. So with certification schemes, we want to, by definition here, we are saying that the certification scheme is a procedure by which a third party, the key element here is a third party, meaning that there is a first, second, and then there is a third party. So the third party is a person who is not even biased to any of you. He's a completely independent body. That's why I'm calling him third party. He gives you a written assurance, that is a certificate, that your product or your process of producing this product or the service that you offer conforms with certain requirements or standards. So it means if I'm growing coffee through agroecology, I'm going to sell it to the seller. There's a third party who comes and says, yes, I'm giving you a certificate to make sure you sell wherever you want because your coffee is standard, it has followed certain standards A, B, C, D. And these standards must be well defined for the farmer. So that even those who want to join the certification scheme know what requirements they need to fulfill. So fair trade certification, as I mentioned, is a very common scheme. And the farmers are always offered fair prices of the products, and they benefit from price floors and premium. What we call the price premium is the same as the price margin or a markup, a profit margin. If the other people are selling their coffee, now coffee has gone up. It's 7,000 for the one with the herb, for the honey. So if the conventional coffee is 7,000, then fair trade maybe it's going to give you 90,000. So the 2,000 above the 7,000 is what we call the premium price. So premium prices are determined at international level for people who are fulfilling certain requirements. And agroecology as a product can be able to benefit from that. So we have several certification schemes. There's what we call, maybe before we come to that, why do we need certification? The first reason why we need certification, we say certification reduces transaction costs and increases efficiency. Meaning that if I'm certified, I'm selling through a group, we're a cooperative. So it means I'm not saying in isolation. Things are done collectively. Even the buyer is even finding us in our cooperative. Like we have the Buka cooperative, Coca-Cola, they will have the Bodega Care. So there are many cooperatives. We even have Karamura Coffee. These people are certified. So the certifications also protect producers from market risks. Things of like theft, fires, accidents. If you are certified, you are insured, and then there's someone taking the liability. Also, certification ensures compliance by different actors in the value chain. So if I'm certified, then it means that even the buyer has to comply with certain standards. He's not going to buy my product, he transports it anyhow. For him to come and buy from a certified farmer, he must also be able to fulfill certain requirements to make sure that he still delivers this product which is already certified to the farmer in its nice form or right form. Then certification also maintains diversity of products and methods which are key in promoting rural development. So we're saying that if we are certified, remember at the beginning we talked about recycling as the element of agroecology, so it means that we also talked about diversity. We're not only going to, we are certifying this product, but at the same time, there are other byproducts or waste products. For example, if we remove the hull from coal, then there should be people who are using it in energy efficient technologies. So they are further producing it. So that is the certification we're talking about. So there are some diversity of products that come out within the certification scheme, and also certification outlines certain product processes because there are certain requirements that we must meet, and therefore certification outlines all these ones, and then eventually people are able to follow those ones. And this is very important for the consumer because the consumer needs a product which is clean enough, which has no toxins. If you are going to dry, you have certain standards you must fulfill, and in this way, the health of the consumer is protected. So by outlining certain guidelines or process or quality, then it helps us to produce the best quality for the producer. Of course, there are several categories of certification scheme. The first category here, we have what we call the Food Safety and Liability Certification Scheme. So this is mainly developed for food industry after the product has left the farm gate. So this is not concerned with the farm, but sometimes we produce the product, but once we sell it out and it has left our farm, some schemes start the certification from there. Maybe they're involved in the traders. How the transportation, how is it transported, how is it processed. So meaning that these ones are not at farm level. Food safety and liability schemes are not at farm level, but they are at processing and transportation and retail level. But we also have what we call food assurance certification schemes. These are usually at pre-farm gate, meaning that they are the way you dry. These are some procedures of like drying, storage when the product is still at the farm. Because some of these toxins or poisons are picked from our stores. You are drying cassava, but you are drying with a lot of mold. Coffee, you are putting it on the floor, so it is picking the contamination. So such a food assurance certification scheme ensures that our product, when it is still on the farm, is in good condition. Meaning that it is possible that there can be a certification scheme dealing with farmers, but also a certification scheme dealing with transporters, traders, and others, to make sure that our product reaches the final consumer when it is safe. And the last category is differentiation certification scheme. This is the common scheme today, and it aims at distinguishing the certified product from other similar products. So in other words, this is kind of a marketing strategy. We want our product to appear different. It can be in terms of branding, in terms of grading, to appear different from other conventions. So meaning that this certification scheme is now concentrating more on processes like branding the product. If it meets certain requirements, it should be branded differently, so that a farmer or a consumer can be able to select what he wants. Now, after I have done that, what's the procedure for certification? We have to define the scope of certification. We have to know, is it a pre-farm? Like I've already explained the categories. Is it at the farm? Is it at the transportation level? So we need to define the scope, meaning that the certification, you cannot combine things at the farm, at the transportation and processing, and even at branding, no? You have to know what's the scope of certification. That's the first procedure for you. If you have to undertake certification, you must know what do I want to certify for. Then we need to identify the definition and identification of requirements. Of course, this should be established within the legal procedures. There should be a legal framework or a legal procedure that you are following. Meaning that if you are going to be certified, you must have even registered it with a lawyer. Then after you have done that, you have to establish the internal control system. Who is going to manage what? Who is going to do what? And if someone has messed up with a certain quality, what is the penalty that we give? If there are members who have joined that certification scheme, maybe they are supposed to dry coffee on a tap and you find one is drying on the ground, just bare ground, what do you do for him? There should be a legal procedure for that. And there should be an internal control system. How are we determining the quality? Are we using UNBS? Or we have our own laboratories to test for the quality of this product? Then we also need to have well-documented internal management, what we call the organization structure. Who is leading this organization? Because we don't want a conflict. Then also implement the management system, and also we need to have a system of assessing the certified product. Now, having seen that, you can imagine what challenges. Of course, if you are going to bring the legal issues, if you're going to talk about the penalties internally, who is not conforming to certain guidelines, then there are many challenges. And then we look at these challenges of certification. Now, what are the challenges of certification schemes? The requirements for certification are so intensive, they are so much, that our local agroecology farmer may not manage some of them. So we need a lot of support. If you are talking about certain storage structures built in a certain standard, the local farmer may not manage that. So it is a very intensive process, registering the legal, you must have a lawyer, you must do. Just imagine. Then the second challenge, certification schemes are barriers to international trade. Sometimes, if people are already certified, then there are those ones who are going to be allowed to participate in the international trade. The ones who are not certified will get nowhere. So it means that it's like a sieve, like a KK. It sieves out some people. Not everyone can. Once these schemes start coming, then it means not everyone will sell internationally. Then another challenge is that sometimes certification is imposed on the producers by big firms. If, for example, the Kinyara sugar is the one which is buying from certain farmers in Monyoro or Soba, then they will tell you what to do. And that is all. When we talk about the imperfect market, they will go for a monopoly. So it means they will rule, even they can come and say, we're not buying. Then you start crawling, requesting them to buy. So they impose prices, they impose quality, even if it is not really required. That's what they just impose. They don't want to discuss anything. Sometimes certification schemes suggest the product processes with special characteristics that when other products are not certified, they also possess. So this point is telling us that sometimes certification is meaningless. They will tell you this goat is agroecology produced. But when you look at the goat, it's exactly the same goat as the one which is produced from the conventional farm. Where is the difference? So that's the challenge. We are saying that is it really having distinct features from the non-certified features? Sometimes we don't see it. Even some farmers who are saying they grow organic coffee, somewhere in the night they spray. And if you don't have a very clear system of testing for quality, then it will be a problem. And lastly, some certification schemes attribute certain characteristics to the product which does not possess. I think this is similar. They will say this is very good, it tastes sweet. They will speak so, especially when we have talked about the discourse, the language. They will sweeten it when actually it is not sweet. So there are many challenges that these certification schemes come up with. Now, having looked at the certification schemes, in the next short time, in the next lecture, we shall look at the standards, agricultural standards. Why? Because agricultural standards, they are the ones they base on to form the certification schemes. You must follow certain standards or certain guidelines to be able to be certified. So in the next lesson, let us discuss further on the agricultural standards. Thanks so much.